with me, and just take 2 deep breaths with me. Y'all ready? So we're going to inhale through our nose, exhale through our mouth. Make sure you breathe into your belly, not with your chest. Thank you. Let's go. One more time. All right. Tyrell, calm down. Why are you so anxious? Just relax. How does one relax when their brain and body are stuck in survival mode, seeking for a peaceful pasture to lay their head and rest? Like the little boy in that one Tyler Perry movie who had never spoke until he got a bed. What does it look like to exist in this 6'3", black, gay, cis male body without judgment or fear that at any moment the rug could be pulled out from under you? So much of my life was spent finding some semblance of peace, trying to surround myself with the things that made my nervous system calm, searching for love, acceptance, and peace, a place that feels safe enough to ease the years of anxiety woven into my body. At just 2 years old, in the midst of a fight with my mother, my father decided that it was perfectly fine to use me as a tool for control. As she prepared to leave, he placed me on top of the car as if I were expendable. My mother, trusting her instincts, put the car in park and pulled me to safety. My parents were kind of like Bobby and Whitney. They loved each other and had their habits and their struggles, but they needed each other. Okay, it worked, I guess. I remember when I was around 2, my mother and my grandmother were fighting. My mother had been out all weekend getting high, and my grandmother was not letting her go anywhere with me. They both stood on business at the top of the basement stairs at my grandmother's house, each grabbing hold of both of my arms, tugging in the opposite direction. My grandfather stood there in shock, trying to find a way to intervene and keep me from flying downstairs. I dangled there crying as my grandmother and my mother played tug-of-war with my 2-year-old body. Ultimately, my grandmother won the battle, tossing me to my grandfather and closing the door in my mother's face. Throughout my childhood, my mother battled schizophrenia and substance abuse. I couldn't fully grasp what that meant as a kid. I only knew that at any moment, my mother would become another person. She would take me into the basement of our home at times and have me convinced that my sister was not her child. Someone's just dropped her off one day and we had been taking care of this strange child. Yet by the end of the day, I wasn't her kid and she was dropping me off at my grandparents, the people who had apparently kidnapped her. She would be loving and caring one second and abusive and neurotic the next. By the age of 8, I was cooking, cleaning, and raising my younger sister while my mom spent most of her days upstairs getting high. I remember one day when she wasn't happy that I didn't finish my plate of fish and spaghetti. I had enough. I was full. But she made me dig it out of the trash and eat it. Another time, I lied about cleaning my room. After her company left, she chased me around the house with the belt, whipping me like I was Jesus going to Calvary. The next day, I went to school with bruises and lashes across my face, and my teacher had questions, of course. Child Protective Services were called, and I was taken to a room with toys while they waited for my mother. When she arrived, I could see her through the glass, but she could not see me. But she had her belt in hand, the same one that she used the night before, ready to prove a point. They sent me home with her. There was the day that she was helping me with my math. And frustrated by the struggle to understand, she struck me in the head with the phone. As I sat there shocked, bleeding, and crying, she never apologized. In fact, she did nothing. At 10, after 2 days without food, my mother left me at Lambert Airport, taking my sister with her. She told me to sit as she walked away. After waiting for what felt like forever, I approached the man at the counter and told him that my mom had left me. And I was reunited with her because the airport police had arrested her, and because she had been getting high. She immediately asked me if I had told the police about any of the mafia secrets because Al Capone was after us. After sitting there at the airport station for a while, they took us to DePaul Hospital. They examined my mother, my sister, and me, and proceeded to call my family. They called my grandparents. She told them that they had abused her. They called my uncle. She told her that he had abused my sister. And they called my grandfather, who was not at home with my grandmother, and she told him that somehow my uncle, who has passed away, had given me HIV because apparently he had molested me. And so they took us to foster care. All of those were lies. After that incident, my mother lost custody of me and my sister, and we spent a few months in foster care. My grandparents got us on Thanksgiving Day. Oh, wait. I almost forgot about my dad. That isn't hard to do because he really wasn't there, except for popping in on occasion to show me off to his girlfriends, because I was a pretty handsome kid. Throughout all of these and so many more wow moments, I would fall in love with Jesus. Church became my mother, and my pastors were my father. Church was my life. I grew up apostolic. And honestly, we had almost everything basically as a sin and probably had to ask permission to breathe on most days. But just in case, I didn't want to slip into Satan's grip. So I did ask permission for most things. I did everything like I was told. I dressed the part. I made sure I wore pants. I didn't wear shorts. No facial hair, no jewelry, no makeup. I didn't go to the movies. I didn't listen to the devil's music on occasion. Okay. But I jumped when they told me, and occasionally I asked how high because I was uncertain if the leap was good enough. Through all of this, I understood one thing. I was different, much like my friends here. Girls were cute, but guys, there was something there, something different, and the church had quickly reminded me that wasn't acceptable. I learned to mask it, to suppress who I was under the guise that God would only love me if I did what was expected. I stayed at the altar most days after everyone left, begging and pleading with God to take this homosexual spirit away. I would be the first one to get in line to get hands laid on me, so hoping somehow someone would remove it. This changed nothing. Church became an oasis to put my burdens down and escape the traumas of my childhood, while also being a place where trauma was added and added fuel to the fire. At 19, I got a girl pregnant. Yes, I tried. Help us, Lord. Okay? And in an effort, again, to do what I was told would be pleasing to God, I got married at 19. This is not to say that I did not care for my wife at that time, but again, I was making people happy. I was trying to please people and basically lying to her for the sake of Christ. I even admitted to her when we were engaged that I'd kind of hooked up with my youth pastor's cousin. But she forgave me and we moved forward, yet it still felt wrong. I could even see the fear and uncertainty in her eyes, but we did it. We got married. And we created two amazing boys, Gideon and Jaden. But it still didn't change anything. That defect was still lingering. And I continued to perform for everyone, trying to be the perfect apostolic husband. I did everything right until one day I couldn't anymore. I got caught. I went to every outreach event, prayer meetings, at-home Bible studies, conferences, door knocking, church camps, and revivals, offering myself in exchange for the very thing that I feared. I had seen the way my family rejected my Uncle Wayne because he was gay. I heard the damning comments in church and at school, the whispers of families who saw it and said nothing. But they did everything to change what was. One phone call with my grandparents changed how I viewed myself. And what I felt like was the lowest point in my life. See, I got caught and my ex-wife sent her parents to come get my children and take them away because I cheated on her with the man. I picked up the phone and with tears streaming down my face, I said, "Grandma." She interrupted. "Baby, I've always known. In fact, your uncle told me when you were a kid that he saw it. I want you to do whatever you can to take care of your children and to love yourself and be you." My grandfather supported her and let me know that he loved me too. This one moment allowed me to see that my Uncle Wayne had paved a path for me. He lost his life to complications to AIDS, and the pain that my family felt knowing that they had rejected him made space for me to be accepted. My uncle and I are both cancers and both walked the earth and had the honor to also be gay. I'm grateful for him for showing me love as a kid before he died and showing me the boldness the boldness to not only be me, but heal the traumas and the hurts along the way. And I'm gonna insert this here too. I have another uncle, my Uncle Jerry, who called me before this. And I didn't tell him that I was doing this, but he said that the Lord told him to call. And that's one thing, the Lord is always telling on me in my family. Whether I was gay or straight, the Lord liked to tell my business. And so I told him what I was doing, and my uncle, who basically said that he was proud of me. And that same uncle kind of made me fearful as a kid of being myself, but one night we had a little Crown Royal. He let me know, "Nephew, when you decided to come out, that let me know that you were a real mother. Shut your mouth." So today, I stand before you, a proud dad, a Black man in therapy, and a human who is healing and creating spaces for others to heal. Forgive me if I'm a little anxious sometimes. Healing isn't linear, and every day I'm conquering new layers and overcoming new challenges and revisiting some old ones. I'm grateful for every part of this journey, even the traumas, because without it, I would not be me. Thank you.